I am here with Norbert Röttgen, who's the chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee of the German Bundestag, the German Parliament. My name is Dan Hamilton. I direct the Wilson Center's Global Europe program. Mr. Röttgen, let me ask you your impressions you have seen in Germany and in Europe in response to the US elections.
Hello, Dan, good to see you, and thank you for having me. I think I clearly say that in a way, collectively, there was a big breath of relief and joy across the country that now with Joe Biden, we see a new opportunity for the transatlantic partnership in the future.
There seems to be a whole outburst in Europe sort of reflecting that mood, but we still have difficulties across the Atlantic. If you think about issues we have to face, there's US challenges to the German Nord Stream 2 energy project. There's President Trump had announced troop withdrawals from Germany. There's a question of how we together should work or not on China and what its rise means for each of us. How we work on defense spending. You know, there's been a general US sense that Germany hasn't spent as much on defense as it should. Do you think those problems will be easier to deal with or harder, or how do you think we should go about that?
No, I would say what I think is most important is that the general approach of the United States, of Joe Biden and his administration can be expected to be completely different. We will see again the mutual appreciation of the alliance. He will turn again towards the world and he will be active in foreign policy. And we will treat each other as partners and friends. However, of course, there are still problems. And some of the differences between the German / European view and the American view are in the United States bipartisan issues. So there's no struggle within the US. For example, Nord Stream 2 has been opposed both by Republicans and Democrats, and it has been opposed all the time by me, for example. But what is different, that there are really opportunities if and when there is an administration who wants to be active on the world stage. For example, climate policy, external climate policy, a strategy vis-a-vis. However, of course, this is demanding also for Europe and Germany particularly. So we have to bring in our special trade policy vis-a-vis China into a European strategy on China and into a transatlantic approach. For example, the 5G decision will be the first example whether we are ready to slightly shift our position towards a Western transatlantic position.
Do you think that the China debate will be easy? And so far, until now, the Trump administration has been tough on China. As you say, there's sort of a bipartisan approach that that's sort of the direction to go. He had also sort of beat up on allies to try to get them online. When you say you see a new way of dealing with it, how do you see that? Where are the areas where the US and Europe maybe could work together when we consider how to approach China?
So I think technology is an important area because the global competition, the great power competition which has re-emerged on the world stage, has more and more a technological basis. So this is an area where we can put together strengths on both sides of the Atlantic. And I think in general, we could more agree. We do not want to wage trade wars. We do not think that we have to embrace a hostility, a bipolar world towards China, but we have to strengthen our strengths and then go for a common position vis-a-vis China. I think this will then bear fruits. And I think also a certain division of labor between the United States and Europe, with the pivot to Asia by the US and China very much focusing on China, and with a responsibility for Europe, for itself, for the Eastern and Southern neighborhood. I think there are many, many areas where we have to go and we Europeans and Germans particularly have to move but we have made an experience now under Trump. So we should be very motivated to fill in more European substance in our relationship.
One last question about the defense spending issue, which you know has also been sort of very controversial. It was actually the Obama-Biden administration that set the 2% spending goal that countries, NATO allies, should spend 2% of their GDP on defense. It wasn't Donald Trump. So with the vice president returning to the presidency, what do you think Germany is going to deal with? How is Germany going to deal with this question? It's coupled also to the issue of troops, troop presence in Germany and Europe. What do you say now? It's hard, you know, I think for 330 million Americans to understand why 500 million Europeans really don't, you know, carry their fair share of the defense burden. That's sort of a general impression in the United States. What do you say to that?
My view is, and I'm vocal on this in the German public and in Europe, that the Americans are right. Yes, we have to come to a new agreement on a division of labor. We have to care as Europeans and Germans more for our own security. The Cold War is 30 years over now, and we see everybody across Europe sees the domestic dramatic challenges of the new president. So we simply have to do more, find a new deal about security and Europe. And I think we will have now a better approach. The withdrawal of troops was, in my view, more or less an irrational act of punishment of Germany against the security interests of the United States. So I think this could be reconsidered, and Germany should reconsider its pace of living up to the pledges we have made to European and NATO security.
Thank you. Norbert Röttgen, Chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee of the German Bundestag. Thank you so much for being with us.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.